In this tutorial, we're going to talk about clipping planes. Clipping planes are useful for when you have a 3D model and you want to investigate different parts of it, or if you want to create sections from it. So to run the clipping plane command, you could either go to one of your views and find it here, or you could instead just go to the command line and type clipping plane. Then you would go to the view that you want your clipping plane to be visible in, and you just draw a rectangle. And as you can see, now this rectangle, this plane is making a section out of my geometry for me. So if I move this plane up and down, you could see in the top view how my section is changing. And as you have noticed, I can only see the changes in the top view. If I want to see the changes also in other views, I could select this plane, go to Properties, and select the other views that I want this plane to be visible in. So now you could see that I can see the changes both in the top and the perspective view. So when I get the section that I like, I can just select everything and type make 2D. And this creates for me the section that I was seeing here. Okay. One important thing about clipping planes is that they're not perfect. So there are a tool to help you create sections, but it is up to you to make your sections true to what they need to be. So for example, one of the many mistakes with this one is that here I can see the line, but in this part I cannot see it. So if you go under layers, you can see that the make 2D command creates different layers for you. So one is the clipping plane, which is the part that is being cut, and the other layer is the curves, which is the parts that you see but are not being cut. Okay. So I can go ahead and turn on the print display. So I run the print display command and then change the state to on. And you could see better which parts are being cut, or which part are the section parts and which part are the other things that are in the background. Okay. This print display is useful for you to understand better what's going on, but at the end of the day, you will take this 2D drawing and export it to Illustrator. So the print display command is just for your own reference. So you could go to, for example, the curves layer, and you could just add whatever else that is needed to make this section complete. You also have to get rid of a lot of stuff. So as I mentioned earlier, this tool is not perfect and it doesn't do the things the exact way they need to be. So for example, one thing that you will have to change is to get rid of these parts in your section part. So I'm going to select everything, then select trim, and I can just tidy up my section. Okay. All right. There are other things that you need to take care of as well, but I'm not going to finish this section for you. This is just to show you how the clipping plane works. So after you're done creating your section, you could either hide the plane, or you could just click on it and just turn it off so it doesn't affect your 3D geometry, or you could just delete it. Since I'm not going to come back to this, I'm going to delete it. But in your case, when you, for example, make a plan, you probably want to go ahead and change a few things and come to the same clipping plane that has made the plan for you. So it makes sense to just hide it to be able to come back to it. Right. You could also make the clipping plane in other views. They don't even have to be vertical, but I'm just going to create one in the front view and then create another one in the right view. Then I am going to make sure that I can see them in the perspective view as well. And you can see how easily I can just make a section out of my 3D geometry. Okay. So when you're done and you like the position of the clipping planes, you could also make 2D out of this view. Another thing that is important is that in case you want the, for example, the left part of this clipping plane, you could just select it and select flip direction. So once you have moved your clipping planes and you have created a section that you really like, you could just go ahead, select everything and make 2D from it. So here you can see that the make 2D command along with these clipping planes have tried to create a section for me. However, as I mentioned earlier, you will have to manually go over it and make sure that this is right. So this tool is here to help you create sections, but is not perfect. So for example, one of the very obvious things here is to go ahead and trim these lines in my section to make sure that I have a clean section. There are also other obvious problems with this section. So for example, here you can see these lines that are just left out in the space, and I will have to manually go over these and make sure that my sections make sense. One of the things that I really like about these perspectival sections is that, so here we have created a 2D drawing, well here an unfinished 2D drawing, but you could imagine also creating a rendered view from the same angle. So later on, you could combine the 2D drawing along with the rendered view and create very interesting, beautiful drawings. So you could take them to Photoshop and Illustrator and put them on top of each other to create these type of perspectival sections. We have created a slideshow for you guys that you can see very good examples of these type of drawings in there.